Manchester United are going big in the midfield battle this summer. We know midfield is absolute priority, and priority isn't Casemiro replacement, then left winger. Priority is making sure we sign two big midfielders and a third one for depth if Ugrate leaves. Being reported, United are saving funds for not one big midfield signing, but two. The dream world, you're looking at Elliot Anderson and Bruno Guimaraes and then Matheus Fernandes as the depth option. That's never going to happen. I don't think Bruno Guimaraes is going to happen, but Tonali could happen, and Romano has confirmed we've made a move. He's looking like number one with Elliot Anderson set to go to City, but that second midfield signing could be a Baleba, could be a Wharton, could be a big name, and that is pretty exciting. We're going to break down the midfield plans. We will talk about the attack, Zirkzee's exit, which is expected to happen in the summer. If we get money for Zirkzee, how is that going to affect the transfer plans? We will talk about Tonali, we'll talk about Wharton, Zirkzee, midfielders, and we will have another discussion on Michael Carrick, because more and more reports are coming out, basically somewhat copying what Sully said, pretty much saying as more and more elite managers are ruled out, the managerial race is looking more and more likely it will be Carrick. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news and update roundup show, where I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news into a 10-minute video for you guys. So we're going to go through transfer news, manager news, and everything. Let's get into the video. Please do hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video, and if you're new, you're welcome to subscribe, because every single evening on the channel I do a 10-minute video where I round up all the latest Manchester United news and pretty much tell you what's credible, what's not credible, and we focus really on credible sources. Simon Stone, a very credible source, said this on United's midfield incomings this summer. I am expecting at least two players to come in, given Casemiro is leaving and there are more games. If Manuel Ugrate left as well, it might be three, unless someone like Mason Mount drops back. First of all, we can't rely on Mason Mount to stay fit to even drop back. We can't even rely on him to stay fit and play games. Second of all, Mason Mount isn't the kind of player you want to drop back. So that's three signings with Ugrate set to go. Ugrate and his agent are looking for a move. Ugrate is frustrated with his lack of minutes. Ugrate is actually looking to leave Manchester United, and Manchester United have already told Ugrate he can go. If Carrick stays, he's not in the plans. Ugrate is pretty much done, as long as we can get an offer of like 25 million for him and he'll agree to lower his wages. Ugrate is pretty much done. He's out of here. His agent is looking at moves. He wants to go. We want to get rid of him. It's just one of those annoying ones like Højlund and Onana, where it might just be difficult to get rid of him because he's barely played. Like, who's actually going to pay up the kind of money we want to get rid of Ugrate? But Ugrate is expected to go, which we're talking three midfielders. Now, out of those three midfielders, one can be a depth option, but two of them need to be big name signings. And, the question is, can Man United afford big name signings? I remember this time last year, I said if we get Cunha, we won't get Mbeumo. I was like, if we get Cunha, we won't be able to afford Mbeumo. I think it'll be Cunha and a Gyökeres. I don't think we'd have money for the third attacker. But United surprised us all by signing Cunha and Mbeumo and Sesko. I thought if we signed Cunha and Mbeumo, we'd only have the money for Delap, because United kind of made out they didn't have enough money to do more than this and that. And I think we've seen with United in the past, actually we signed Cunha and Mbeumo. I only ever thought we could get one, and I thought once we got Cunha, we wouldn't get Mbeumo or Semenyo until we then got linked heavily to Mbeumo. I thought, okay, but if we get Cunha and Mbeumo, it's going to be Delap. We won't be able to afford Sesko. Then we all of a sudden could afford Sesko and have this money for Baleba that we never spent. Now, remember, we never spent the Baleba money in the summer. We had about 70 million put away from midfield in the summer that we never spent, and we didn't spend in January either. But we're willing to spend 65 million on Semenyo in January, which says to me there's 70 million from last summer that we've still got access to, plus this summer's budget, plus maybe 100 million more if we're in the Champions League, plus the money from Højlund, Rashford, Ugrate, Zirkzee sales. United will have money to spend. And Andy Mitten was sort of asked if United can afford not one big midfield name, because there's talk of it maybe being like if we could get Sandro Tonali, which again, difficult deal to do. I think he'd rather go back to Italy, and who knows if Newcastle will sell. But if we get Sandro Tonali, then it'd be a 40 million midfielder, and United might call it that. But apparently Man United can afford two big names. Andy Mitten, a very credible journalist, works with The Athletic. He was asked if Man United can afford two 70 million signings. He said yes, but it slightly depends on the players going. If we can sell players, if we get Champions League football with the money that we have, Man United could afford two 70, 80 million midfielders. And look, Man United are probably going to sign two big name midfielders in the summer. I think Man United's plan is two big name midfielders in the summer. I think if there was no competition, Man United would get Wharton and Anderson. I think Man United would like Wharton and Anderson. I think if there's no competition, that's what we do. I don't think we'll get them because of competition. But Man United are planning on signing two big name midfielders, and Man United hope to sign two big name midfielders in the summer and maybe a third one for depth if Ugrate goes, which is really interesting because when I say big name midfield player, I'm talking about, the main candidates being Anderson, Tonali, Bruno G. Bruno G's kind of been ruled out, saying he's too old. Craig Hope's kind of ruled him out, saying it's not advanced. Anderson and Tonali are our favourite too. Anderson looks City bound, so we're working on Tonali. We're going to get into the Romano update on that. If Man United do get Tonali, which is difficult, I don't think we're getting Anderson. I think he's going to City. I don't think we're getting Bruno Guimaraes. I think there's a small chance we get Tonali, but it's difficult. It's going to be a bit of an Isak saga. But let's say we do sign Tonali, United would still look to get Baleba on top of Tonali, which I find interesting. I think United would like Tonali and Wharton, or Tonali and Baleba, or I've put Matheus Fernandes in there. Some people might put him in the depth category, but we know Christopher Vivol is looking at some gems like a Gome, Burville, Stiller, Sander Berge, João Gomez as that third midfielder for depth if Ugrate leaves. But let's say we do somehow pull off Tonali, we'd also look to bring in Wharton or Baleba or Matheus Fernandes on top of that and get 2 elite level midfielders in, which is great to see. Now, there's always questions of if Bruno Fernandes will leave, and then we'll need a third level elite midfielder. We've been linked to Morgan Rogers, Morgan Gibbs-White, which I just don't see as Bruno Fernandes replacements. I think if Bruno Fernandes was to go, I'd go out for Bruno Guimaraes, but I think Bruno Guimaraes and Lewis Hall are going to be the untouchables at Newcastle this summer. But yeah, that was quite interesting. I think United will go for 2 big name midfielders, and I think number 1 on the list is Tonali. Tonali is a player who is very, very, very highly appreciated internally by United. Very, 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 says Romano. Now, the Tonali news has really heated up in the last 48 hours. He's kind of emerged as United's number 1 target. Talks have been confirmed. Now, could it be Tonali's agent pushing us a bit more? I think so. Tonali's agent is a bit of a game player, and I can see why Newcastle fans don't like him. Do I think Tonali would choose Italian clothes over us? Yes. Could he be using Man United for a move elsewhere away out of Newcastle? Potentially, but Tonali himself is acting professional and hasn't given Newcastle any indication that he wants to leave. This is all Tonali's agent playing up. But Anderson is number 1, but he's Man City's target. Now we're working hard on Tonali. I think we know Anderson's going to go City, and we're putting all our effort into trying to get Tonali. Now his agents kind of said Tonali wants to move. Tonali 3 months ago was viewed as untouchable. Tonali in December was viewed as untouchable, not going anywhere despite slight drip in form. Tonali's agents putting some stuff out there. He was phenomenal for Italy the other day. I cannot believe there's Man United fans turning their nose up at Tonali. And Romano is pretty much confirmed, this is who Man United want. We have made a move. We're working on Tonali. We're working hard on it. We have made a move, but we've not made a move to Newcastle, but we've clearly made a move to Tonali and his agent. United, we're working hard on this. And look, I'd love it to happen. Again, I think it's going to be difficult dealing with Newcastle. Would he pick us? Will Newcastle sell? Is there a gentleman's agreement or not that he can leave if they don't get Europe? Who knows? I think we'll have an indication nearer the summer. This could be an Isak saga, but I think it would be a phenomenal bit of business. And Romano has confirmed, we are working on it. So that there is some kind of moves being made behind the scenes. We are working on it, which is good to hear. More updates coming in. Man United are tracking Wharton as a potential summer target. Luckhurst then mentions that Wharton is still under contract till 2029. It would be an expensive deal to do, but it looks like Wharton is ready for a move, ready to go to a Champions League club, la 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 la. Luckhurst also mentioned that Wharton, Anderson, Tonali, Baleba and Alex Scott are among Premier League midfielders we're looking at. Look, Alex Scott's had a better season than Baleba this season, but I wouldn't put Alex Scott in the same category as the other 4, despite being a good player. I probably wouldn't quite put him in the same category as the other 4. But they're all nice names. And look, if you get 2 of the names on that list that I've just read, you're pretty happy about it, to be honest, aren't you? So Andy Mitten was asked again today on the Talk of the Devils podcast, what is going to happen with Zirkzee and will Man United sign an attacker in the summer? And he said United signing an attacker in the summer, I think, will depend on what happens with Zirkzee. If he goes and Man United get money for him, they're a player down, they have more games next season, I think they probably bring someone in. Now, I think United, regardless of what happens with Zirkzee, will look to bring in a left winger. We've been linked to Yan Diamonde, we've been linked to Iliman Njai, but I think if Zirkzee goes, we might look to bring in a second attacking-minded signing. I think the only way we don't bring in a striker if Zirkzee leaves is if we sign a left winger and a left back, because then if we sign a left back, we can use Dorgu as another left wing option and Cunha as maybe a striker option to compete with Sesko. But I think if Zirkzee goes, we go for a striker, we go for a left winger, we go for a left back that can maybe cover centre back, we go for 3 midfielders. I think that's what will happen in the summer. And last but not least, Samuel Luckhurst gave an update on Carrick, saying that those inside United are very happy with Carrick's impact since January, and his appointment is already seen as vindicated early, and he's now favourite to stay with few standout external options available. I like Carrick. He's doing well. If he continues the way he's going, he could definitely earn the job. But I want to make sure United do consider other options, do interview other options, even though we're very happy with Carrick. I think it's always good to have a number of options out there just in case. But things are going well with Carrick. Let me know if you'd want him to be permanent manager down below. But that is all your Manchester United news, transfer news and more, rounded up into a 10-minute video for you guys. I do hope you enjoyed today's video. Feel free to hit the likes on the way out. Feel free to subscribe if you're new. I will be back to more of a live show. Thank you for watching. Bye.